to Chinese Bridges Summer Camp. Today I'll introduce you to Chinese Shanghai Textile and Clothing Museum, the only professional museum in China that comprehensively introduces you to the history, cultural and scientific approaches in textile and clothing. Let's go! Hello, welcome to the modern section. In this section, we're gonna take a look at the women's part, the children's wear, and men's wear, three sections. In this section, you'll see the real clothes traced back to Qing Dynasty and the Republic of China. Now let's take a look at this beautiful red satin dragon robe. If you see a dragon on it, it's embroidered with multicolored stones. Well, normally people would think of the only person who are allowed to wear dragon robe is the emperor of ancient China. That's a common misunderstood concept. Actually, women can wear it as well, but only the wives of high officers. This beautiful piece is actually the traditional style that can be traced back to Ming Dynasty. Please take a look at this large-sized, extravagant sleeve. This kind of sleeve is only worn by Ming Dynasty's women. But in Qing Dynasty, Han people are allowed to keep their tradition. Therefore, the sleeve was kept. Having seen what Han's people wear, then let's take a look at what Manchu women wear. Look at this beautiful long dress. Did you notice any difference? The sleeve, right? This kind of sleeve has a unique thing called horse-hoof cuff. This horse-hoof is developed and designed specifically for the lives on grasslands. As you can imagine, the vast grassland, the only transportation at that time is horse. In order to ride a horse, you cannot wear something that has wide sleeves, right? That's not convenient for sure. This kind of sleeve can snugly cover your arm and the back of your hand. Also, it can be worn when riding it. It is worth mentioning, however, that this sleeve is actually a representative of both Han's culture and Man's culture at the same time, because the traditional sleeve of horse-hoof cuff is actually much tighter. Later on, we will see that in the men's section. Well, the Manchu women were envied and jealous when they saw how Han's women living in palaces, living an extravagant life. The sleeves are wide and they look beautiful, so they want something like that as well. Therefore, they mix both symbols of horse-hoof cuff and large sleeve size, both at the same time. I believe you're familiar with Qingxiang, right? It's now the symbol of traditional Chinese women clothing in the worldwide. It's now still in a lot of beautiful women's closets. And Qingxiang was actually recognized as the best invention in the Republic of China, the short life period of Chinese governmental history. Now, please look at this beautiful pale green silk Qingxiang. It was made from this pale green fabric, which is silk, and embroidered by cuts into cloud shape, which has block meaning inside of it. Inside the embroidery, you can see really petite and unique figure, which are women. What are those They're actually collecting fruit and fruit. It's a very harmonious country scene and has beautiful wishes inside of it. Now we are in Children's Wear. This cute little satin colorful jacket is a little kid's wear. Well, you see, it's very interesting because it's mixed with multicolored fabric. Why is that? It has a very interesting name called 百家衣. As the name indicates, the fabric was collected from hundreds of households. Why do parents do that? Is that because of lack of fabric? No, that's not true. In ancient China, children often die at a young age because of the poor medical condition. In that case, parents believe if they collect fabric from hundreds of households and then put it into a beautiful piece together, the god of death cannot recognize which child is which family is from. Therefore, the child can live a long and happy, healthy life. You see, this clothes, despite it's made from hundreds of household fabric, it's still delicately made, and the beautiful embroidery on the side around the neck shows how parents love their kids. Now we're in men's wear. If you still remember what I've said before in women's section, then you should probably notice the sleeve of this long robe. Well, this is a traditional and original pattern of horse hoof cuff. In Qing Dynasty, Manchu is the group that governed the vast China. As you can imagine, a small group of people govern and rule over the vast lands and a huge population. They have to establish very strict political and military rules. And despite that, methods like clothing and cultural measures are used as well. This clothing is not only worn by Manchu. Huntsmen have to wear it as well at the same time. A very interesting fact, if you ever watch soap operas describing the ancient lives of Chinese people, you'll probably notice an interesting salute. When people do this kind of exquisite, they would firstly unfold their sleeves. Why do they do that? Because the sleeve is so tight that the emperor is feared of if some people may hide some sort of weapon inside of it. If they unfold their sleeves, they are not only showing their respect, but also showing, hey, I don't hide anything inside of it. You can be confident I'm a safe person. What are seen now are the square-shaped embroidery. These are not just made for the beautiful look of it, they actually have their unique function, and their names are 补子. So what are the use of it? As you can see, they have animals on it. These are birds, and birds are representative of the civil officers. Well, they will later put these square-shaped embroidery on large black robe. And therefore, when you see someone who wears this bird-shaped pattern embroidery, you know they are civil officers. What about military men? What do they put on? Well, on their clothes, you will see a beast like a tiger or lion, which are fierce, which represent they are from military. That's the end of my introduction. Coming along the way, you'll find that Chinese clothing can be changed by a long period of time, and it has a mixed culture of ethnic groups, of traditional style, and also from Western elements as well. These beautiful pieces have not been done along the history. Actually, they're still flourishing today. Many things we can learn from. If you're interested in it, you can dig in more stories and come into the museum to see them by yourself. Thank you.
Hello, we're now in the Asian section. In this section, we're gonna see words materials, pictures materials, and replications of different fabrics as well. In this section, you're going to have the chance to see how Chinese ancient textiles changed during different periods of dynasties. Now let's have a look. China is the earliest nation in the world that in ancient time we have developed techniques to make fabric and build clothes as well. In these pictures, you'll see primitive men using bone needles to sew clothes and make fabric. You also see they have bone shuttle, bone looms as well to knead, to sew, and to make fabrics. This giant machine in front of you is Textile shaft draw loom. This ancient machine had been used for almost thousands of years. But guess what? It has been using till now. In some faraway districts, remote districts in China, some ancient groups are still using it as a way to fabricate their clothes. You see, during complicated process, very small, narrow, embroidery piece will come out in the end, delicately and beautifully. This famous piece is Su Sha Dan Yi. It was explicated from Ma Wangdui. Why is it so famous worldwide? It's because this long gown only weighed 49 grams. Think about it, how incredible that is. Well, this gown had been way traced back to Xi Han period, where at the time it's poverty, but China still developed high technical fabric making skills, which is incredibly amazing. In Tang Dynasty's time, China has reached its most prosperous period. In this period of time, China opened up its gates so that Western cultures flushed into us. You can find the elements, the pattern, the color, the design all changed because of the absorbing of Western cultures, where you can find exotic cultures and beautiful patterns inside of it. These two pieces in front of you are Kesi replicates from Song Dynasty. Well, Kesi is a kind of technique that belongs to embroidery, but there's something different of it because how complicated it is to make Kesi. Well, to build a gown of Kesi, you have to use as long as a whole year's period of time to finish it. And that's why it shows the superiority of Chinese embroidery techniques in ancient times. Have you ever wondered how silk was made? Here's the answer. These three models show the process of making silk. First of all, you need to boil the cocoons so that the thread of it could come out. Later than that, you use a machine to straighten the line so that later than the fabric can be made in this draw loom as a whole piece. This beautiful fabric in front of you is a replication from Jin Dynasty. What makes this piece different from other ordinary normal pieces of fabrics is that it uses gold thread technique, where you can see gold shiny a dragon on the fabric. How was it made? It used gold thread, where you firstly melt the gold, then you straighten it to make it into one thread. Finally, you fabricate it with other normal cotton threads together. That's how it was built. You have to be amazed at how wonderful these ancient Chinese craftsmen are at developing these kind of new techniques. Now let's move back to the period of Republic of China. You must be astonished when you see this cheongsam, which was made from hundreds of years ago because of how fashionable it is. That's because of the mixed culture of Western elements. You see, that time in the Republic of China, Western cultures like American, French, they all forced in to brought in their styles of clothes. That's why the fashion trend of cheongsam was changed so quickly that maybe over 2 or 3 years it has been changed to a different style. That's why beautiful ladies feel puzzled and kind of painful because they have to change the beautiful dresses in their closet very soon. Silk stockings as early as 20th century? Wow! Were they made in ancient China? Unfortunately not. These stockings are brought by American soldiers when they came to China to fight a war. However, that doesn't change the popularity of it. The wives of high officers are crazy for the stockings because of how light and beautiful and invisible it is when they wear them. One pair of silk stockings is equal to 50 grams of gold. That's how expensive it was. This pale yellow robe is quite unique from other clothes that I have been introduced previously. Did you notice any difference? Not the sleeves, right? It's the left piece of this robe. You see, it has 1 inch shorter than the right side and has 3 buttons on it. Why is that? It's not because of the lackage of fabric, right? This is because the function of this piece, it was used to go hunting. You see, when people go hunting, you need to ride on a horse. To hop on a horse with a long rope like that, it's not easy and convenient. That's why people developed this function, where you need to hop on the back of the horse and firstly unleash the 3 buttons. That's how you got on it easily. When you are settled and good, you locked it on once again. Elegant, beautifully, and convenient at the best bag. Also, please take a close look at the pattern of this line. It's not get-on-made by embroidery. It actually was made during the fabric when you need it. And that's how extraordinary Asian Chinese craftsmen are. This ordinary purple robe seems quite normal. What makes it different is the pattern on it, a flower, but inside of the flower there are 4 different characters, which is 延年益寿, means to live a long life. That's because of the kayak period of the Republic of China, where deaths are happening every single day. People do not have any wishes other than to live a peaceful life. Now we are at the ethnic group section. The garment behind me is from Guizhou Miao ethnic group. You see how amazing it is with so many embroidery and silver accessories. The including silver hats, silver necklace, silver earrings, everything. Well, a garment like this needed the parent prepare for it as early as the daughter was born. That's because of how time-consuming and expensive it is to make something like this. You see, in China, ethnic groups are mainly in poverty because of the location. They're located in remote areas in China, which means the economic and financial conditions are pretty poor. That's why something like this really shows how much love the parents love their children and the care they have. These pieces behind me is from Yunnan Honghe ethnic group. They use patchwork and wax dyeing to make their pieces unique and extraordinary. Any idea about wax dyeing? Well, first of all, you provide wax on the fabric to build the pattern you want. After that, you put the fabric into the dyeing material, where you can see the places you don't put wax, they are dyed into blue color, and the places you put wax on it, they remained the white color as before. That's how it was being made. Well, ancient groups people mainly use wax dyeing, embroidery, and patchwork to make their pieces beautiful. These ancient techniques did not disappear. In Shanghai University, we have special programs for those people and craftsmen from remote areas and ethnic groups. We want to remain and keep these techniques and make them flourish fashionable once again, not only in China, but also worldwide.